this, huh? We'll record it. Anybody that's not here? For Jacob, for Angie. Okay, so number 4 here. What can you do with the square root of 18?
2 and 9.
Right, so square root of 9 and the square root of 2 would be 3 rad 2, and that's over 6. Okay, now you need to think of this as fraction and fraction that can be reduced, right? So this would be 1 plus 1 rad 2, which I'm just going to write as rad 2, over what?
2.
2. Divide both by 3, or all of it by 3. This would be a 2. Where is what? Okay, so you are here. 3 plus 3 rad 2 over 6, right? That's essentially saying 3 over 6 plus 3 rad 2 over 6, right? So both of these are reducible, which you could write it that way too if you wanted to. You could write this as 1/2 plus rad 2 over 2. That's essentially the same thing. I like this way better. But you could. Okay. 15. What do you do first? You do. You're going to multiply those together. 15 times 5 is 75. So this is the square root of 75. What perfect square can you take out of there? 25 and 3. So you get 5 rad 3. Okay, number 6. What do you do?
Would it be 8?
No. So you're squaring this whole thing, which means you're squaring the 2, and you're squaring the square root of 5. What's 2 squared? 4. What's the square root of 5 squared? 5. So 4 times 5 is 20. Okay? Okay, so now this is all of our different methods of solving. You have to do every one of these on the quiz. You don't get to just choose your method. We're going to say, do it this way, do it that way, do it that way. You need to know them all, okay? The good news is we give you the quadratic formula on this quiz. So you don't have to have that memorized, although when you know a song, you know it, right? Pop goes the weasel. Okay, this first one, solve by factoring. What do you have to do first? Right, you got to add the 24. So really it's x squared minus 11x plus 24 equals 0. And now what? This is star. Yep, so on top is 24. On bottom is negative 11. Your a term is 1. What can you multiply to get 24 that you can add to get negative 11? Negative 3 and negative 8. So your setup right now is x minus 3 times x minus 8 equals 0. But you're not done. You guys are used to being done right here, right? But then we went and actually solved it. So if we're going to solve this, you either know that x minus 3 is 0 or x minus 8 is 0. So add 3, add 8. Your two answers are x equals 3 and x equals 8. Okay? Can I move on? I do. All right, this one, solve by factoring. What do you do?
Negative 28 times 2.
Right, so your b or your a times c is negative 56. Your b term is 1. You have a 2 here. Don't forget that a term. What can you multiply to get negative 56 that you can add to get 1?
Negative 7.
Positive 8, negative 7. Don't forget to reduce this guy. This is 1 over 4. So your answer is x plus 4 times 2x minus 7 equals 0, you still need to solve for what your x would be. What do?
You just, plug it in.
Set each one equal to 0, right? You can leave it as a fraction. So if we subtract 4, then we get x equals -4. So that's one answer. Add 7. So 2x equals 7 and divide by 2. So x equals 7/2, or you may call it 3.5. Either or. Okay? So that's factoring. Oh, what's going on? Sorry. Graphing. Do you remember how to do the graph?
No.
Let's try. I will turn that off and this on for a second so you can see mine. Okay, so remember you click y equals so that we can put the graphing equations in. Okay, so y1 is going to be, do you know you can just do second insert and it'll put a blank if you already have an x squared there and you don't want to erase everything. I just kind of work over top of it. You can do that. So insert a 4x squared plus 3x minus 1. Hit y equals. And then type in 4x squared. Arrow over so you get out of the squaredness. Plus 3x minus 1. And then y2 should be, y2 equals 0. Okay. Now go zoom what? Zoom 6 will show you your graph. Okay. Now what do you press? Second trace. 5. And intersect is what we're looking for. First curve, yes. Second curve, yes. Guess, yes. So your first answer is 0.25. Okay. To get, you might have gotten the other curve then. Because or the other intersect. What did you get? You got 0? Are you looking at the y? You got 0 for x?
I got 0 for x and 1 for 2.
Huh. You want to bring it here real quick? Okay, for the second one, go second, calculate again, the intersect, and now arrow over to the other intersection. Enter, enter, enter.
Wait, second calculate what?
Second trace 5.
Zoom 6.
Except for the other one.
She says second.
Yes, she did.
Yes, she did.
That's what you lost that first one.
She said.
Okay, so second, calculate the intersect. First curve, enter, second curve, enter, guess, enter. Huh. Are you guys getting negative? Are you getting my answers?
Yes.
Yeah?
How did I get to this?
What is different here? y1 is 4x squared plus 3. Oh, did you put? I don't know if this matters. Is this a negative or a minus? There we go. Let's try that.
Yeah, I know. That's not good.
There it is. Now try it. You did a -1, do -1. Okay, so your second one should have been -1. Okay, so 0.25 and -1. Yes, ma'am.
To get the second one, you hit second.
Well, arrow over to the other intersect
I
first.
don't know if I did that. I can't.
Bring it up here.
Okay. if
What's
that's
your
the second
worksheet?
one,
I don't have one up here.
Oh, what were you doing?
I got
I
negative
thought you
one
were
for
doing the
those.
worksheet.
Well, I am, but it's not done.
Oh, I just want to check my answers for these ones.
Okay, what'd you get for Well, bring it up here, I said.
5 around 3. 20. Interesting.
Okay, plug in the second one. 6x squared plus 31x. What will that be? Plus or minus 7? Minus 7. Okay. So now you're going to go second, calc, intersect. So go enter, enter, enter. That's your first answer. For your second answer, second, calculate the intersect. You're going to move over to the other intersection, hit enter, enter, enter. That's your other answer. Okay, so Zoom 6, you should be seeing this graph, okay? And then you will do second calc 5, enter, 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 and you get 0.217. Number 10.
I thought we were 9.
We did 9. 9 was 0.25 and -1.
Oh,
Graphing. Okay, now arrow over to the other one. And hit second calc, the intersect, enter, enter, enter. And you get, isn't that the one I just did?
yeah, you have to hit.
Oh, I didn't arrow over.
No, it pushes you back.
It pushed you back?
Yeah, if you hit second
Oh,
choice,
the
it'll
other
push you
one,
back to the early.
why?
See, it puts you back over there.
Now I don't know where to go.
Where did it go?
It's a big one. It's a really long one.
Negative 5.383. Is that what you got?
Yeah.
Wait, what is it? 5, 3,
Negative 5.383. Okay, moving on. If you're not sure, ask me after we're done with this. All right, finding square roots. This one's my favorite. I like this one. What do you do here?
Take out the 2 first.
Don't take out the 2 first. Add 32. You want to isolate, right? So add 32 to both sides. So 2x squared equals 32. Divide by 2. We want to isolate first. So x squared equals 16. Now what? Now you square root. What do you have to make sure of on this one? Plus or minus. Okay? Plus or minus 4. All right, what do you do on 12? Divide by 4. So, is this what your numbers are? Yeah? 80? So x squared equals 20. Take the square root of that. X is plus or minus, but now you need to simplify the square root of 20. So square root of 4 and square root of 5 is 2 rad 5. Okay? All right, completing the square. You're going to add 7 first. So x squared plus 6x plus something equals 7 plus something. What is that something?
9.
Right, so 3 squared is 9. So this would be what?
Plus 9. Oh, sorry. It's x plus 3.
X plus 3 squared equals 16. Then we're going to square root that. So this is x plus 3 equals, don't forget, plus or minus, the square root of 16 is 4. So then we would subtract 3. Or you can set it up the other way if you like that better. So x plus 3 equals 4, and x plus 3 equals -4, and you solve both. So take away 3, and you get x equals 1. Take away 3, and you get x equals -7. Okay? You may write it this way instead, but you still need to figure out what they are. -3 plus or minus 4, right? But then tell me what those are. Okay, 14. Completing the square still. What do you do first?
You
Add the 4. So x squared minus 4x plus something equals 4 plus something. 1/2 b squared. So half of 4 is 2. 2 squared is 4. Huh?
Is the perfect square already?
No, because they're both minuses. Right? So it does kind of look like it would be, but because these are both minus, when you FOILed it, it wouldn't work out. But that's a good observation, something to, you definitely want to look for that, right? So if we add 4, we get x squared minus 4x plus 4 equals 8. What does this factor as? That would be x minus 2 squared equals 8, okay? Then we square root. So when you square root that, you get x minus 2 equals plus or minus, what's the square root of 8 simplified? 2 rad 2, right? Square root of 4 and square root of 2 would get you 2 rad 2. Okay, and then we're going to add the 2. So x equals 2 plus or minus 2 rad 2. And that is your answer.
So when can you do that?
When can you do what?
When can you add it and roll
What do you mean add it? Add what?
that?
Yeah, because we want x by itself. So we're going to add 2 to both sides.
Why isn't there 2 answers instead?
There are. Plus and minus. So if you prefer, you may write it as 2 plus 2 rad 2 and 2 minus 2 rad 2.
Oh, okay.
But the plus and minus takes care of that. All right, 15 and 16. Quadratic formula. Want to sing it?
Negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a.
You can like that. Okay, so x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared. I'm just going to turn that into a 36 minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. Notice 36 minus 36, you get negative 6 plus or minus the square root of 0. What's the square root of 0? 0. So negative 6 plus 0 and negative 6 minus 0
So the answer is negative 3.
would be negative 6 over 2, which is negative 3. And you only have one answer because your discriminant was 0. Remember that? All right, one more. Un mas. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared, so 4 squared is 16, minus 2 times a times c all over 2 times a. Okay, 16, I'm not going to do that in my head. 16 minus 2 times 4 times negative 22 is 192. I don't remember that being the number. Here's a little pointer for you. Yes, that's why I don't remember that being the number. Thank you. This is wrong. Sorry. I did 2 instead of 4. Do you know that I would have gotten a lot of credit on the quiz for that, though, because I showed all my work? See that? Yeah. Okay. So what's the number? What is it? 368. Okay, can I show you something real quick? Just a good something to look out for. hold on.
What's the square root of 363? 20?
So you are looking for a perfect square to come out of 368. If you look at the other numbers you have, right? You have a 4 and you have an 8. Usually those numbers are going to be reducible somehow. So if we can make it a 4 or an 8 or a factor of those, that's a good thing. So like 368 divided by 4, which actually gets you something, but you can actually factor that further. So don't stop there. 16, right? 4 goes into 16, 8 goes into 16. So try 16. 368 divided by 16 is 16 and 23. So this would be the square root of 16 times the square root of 23. So what you get is negative 4 plus or minus 4 rad 23 over 8. Now you can reduce. So you get, reduce this, you would get a negative 1 plus or minus, reduce this would be 1 also, rad 23. If we're dividing by 4 everywhere, this would be a 2. So technically you could just write it as negative 1 plus or minus the square root of 23 over 2. Elfin. Preguntas? All right.